Figaro und der Graf bitte auf die Bühne.
Mozart's opera, The Marriage of Figaro, is in the final stages of rehearsal by students at the Vienna University of Music. The story of the rebellious servant Figaro was a well-known stage play by the end of the 18th century. The director is not satisfied with Figaro's interpretation. It was Mozart who first transformed the story into a complex drama of strength and weakness, love and deception that has challenged musicians for 200 years.
Stopp. Du, pass mal auf, ich möchte, dass die Beziehung zur Perücke als quasi imaginärem Partner deutlicher herauskommt.
After 200 years, the genius of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart still remains a mystery. In Vienna today, the memory of Mozart is honored. In a central park, the Mozart Monument. His residence on Domgasse is preserved. And to mark the 200 years since Mozart's death, Austria has issued its 5,000 shilling banknote featuring Mozart, the musician who could never save his shillings. In Salzburg, Mozart's birthplace is enshrined as a tourist attraction. His picture is everywhere, in sidewalk paintings or to help sell chocolates called Mozartkuchen, an ironic touch the great composer would enjoy. But Mozart's image is not always positive. His personality has been ridiculed by Austria's own rock star Falco in a popular hit song. And in the Academy Award-winning film Amadeus, Mozart is portrayed as a talented but obnoxious fool, an image made popular by the film's success. Mozart's life and work have long been legendary, but remain a debatable mystery. Generations have been captured by his music, and it's constantly performed and celebrated in every country of the world. But it's to Vienna that aspiring musicians of all nationalities make their pilgrimage to study the enigma of Mozart, the man and his music. Austrians have long believed their traditions must be shared to be maintained. The Vienna University of Music has become an international institution, with students from around the world arriving to study the Vienna classics in their original environment. Every year, the students present an opera performance in the historic Schönbrunn Palace Theater, built by Empress Maria Theresa in 1743. For the students, it's the final exam of a year's study, to not only stage and perform Mozart's complex work, but to understand his characters and their motivation.
Chor und Statisten bitte für das 4. Finale auf die Bühne kommen. Chor und Statisten bitte auf die Bühne.
Considered Mozart's greatest opera, The Marriage of Figaro was a controversial work when first performed in 1786. Its theme is the arrogance of power, and no other topic aroused such intense passions at the time. A new spirit called the Enlightenment was sweeping Europe, the same winds of change that inspired the French and Americans to revolution. The spirit of the Enlightenment reached Salzburg, too, the city where Mozart was born and where he and his father Leopold served in the residence of the Prince Archbishop. The Prince Archbishop of Salzburg was Hieronymus Colloredo, himself an advocate of the Enlightenment. But at the same time, Colloredo was a tyrant with absolute power, cool and unapproachable, and far from beloved by his subjects. The Mozart family considered themselves more than just musical servants delivering appropriate music to the Archbishop's court. They were part of Salzburg's aristocracy. Of 7 Mozart children, only daughter Nannerl and son Wolfgang survived. Father Leopold gave them an intensive musical education. Both were child prodigies. Recognizing that his children could earn a great deal of money, Father Leopold took them all over Europe, beginning when Wolfgang was 5 years old. From the imperial court in Vienna to Germany, France, and England, there was hardly a princely court where the small, pale boy in a powdered wig did not perform on the violin and piano. Archbishop Colloredo's commissions to the young Wolfgang endowed the world with some of the finest musical masses, which were first performed in Salzburg Cathedral. 1781, after he quarreled with the Archbishop of Salzburg, Hieronymus Colorado, Mozart moved here to Vienna, where he would marry his wife Constanze and reside for the last 10 years of his life. And what a decade it was! The French Revolution had started, and the crowned heads of Europe were finally open to some reforms in favor of the people. Under Austrian Emperor Joseph II, Vienna was flourishing when Mozart arrived at the peak of his fame. In Vienna, music and the arts prospered, and so did Mozart, with steady work and recognition. On another performance in Vienna of The Marriage of Figaro. And the international cast from the Vienna University of Music is well prepared. The first performance of The Marriage of Figaro was an unusual experience for Mozart and his friends. The original story came from Paris, where the biting social satire by Pierre de Beaumarchais caused a sensation because of its attack on the aristocracy. In Vienna, too, there was a move to ban its performance. It was the Austrian Emperor Joseph II that saved Mozart's new opera from the censors. And on May 1st, 1786, the first Figaro in music history was staged under the protection of the emperor himself. The scandal it provoked has long since passed, but the excitement as this magnificent opera unfolds on stage remains fresh today. Mozart continually surprised his audiences. His great operas didn't follow the prevailing style. His high sense of drama complemented his musical genius and gave him the freedom to experiment with new techniques on stage. In his operas, Mozart created characters whose complexity and personalities far outshone those found in the standard theater of his time. Meanwhile, the Habsburg monarchy slid ever deeper into a political and economic crisis, which eventually had an effect on Vienna's concert life. Mozart temporarily encountered financial difficulties. His most important patron, Emperor Joseph II, had run into serious difficulties with his reforms. The war against the Turks made his position even more precarious. The emperor died lonely and embittered in 1790. Austria was fast becoming a police state. And because of the changing political climate, the Freemasons, a powerful secret society, came under pressure. Mozart had been a member of the Freemasons' Charity Lodge since 1784. When it seemed likely the government would ban all Freemason activities, Mozart tried an unusual rescue mission. Together with actor-manager Emanuel Schikaneder, Mozart drew public attention to the oppression of the Freemasons through a new opera, The Magic Flute. Joseph Haydn wrote of his friend Mozart, "If I could only impress on the soul of every friend of music how inimitable are Mozart's works, how profound, how musically intelligent, how extraordinarily sensitive." To a large extent, the world agreed, and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, at the summit of his career, enjoyed unprecedented popularity. But Mozart had a darker side. His biographers claim he suffered from what psychologists today term a manic depressive disorder. This condition lay behind his most creative and deeply troubled music. Mozart's last great work was the Requiem, composed on his deathbed. During the night of December 5th, 1791, Mozart died, cause of death unknown. In keeping with burial regulations of the time, Mozart was buried in a mass grave. Today, in St. Mark's Cemetery, Vienna, there is an impressive memorial stone. "200 years have gone by since Mozart's death. Countless Figaros have performed bravely, and as the final curtain approaches, the appreciation of Mozart's fame and genius grows. Mozart lives on in the music and characters he created, in the many costumes and masks of his talent, and in that realm between dream and reality, truth and speculation, and above all, in the imagination of us all. Mozart alone remains what no other musician before or after him has been, an enduring world-famous legend, an undeserved gift to mankind.